ผมที่นี่ทาง Voice TV ในรายการ Wake Up Thailand นะครับคุณโรเบิร์ตอัมสเตอร์ดัม Robert Amsterdam, welcome to Wake Up Thailand.
Thank you so much for having me.
First and foremost, what is the main mission of being here in Thailand this time?
To meet with the red shirts, to gain information, and really restart an investigation that was suppressed by the last government. That's the main mission.
Do you have higher expectations now that we have the Pheu Thai administration in that will find those involved in the killings of the 91 individuals last time?
Absolutely. And again, what we're looking for are not the poor men who were forced to pull the trigger. We're looking for the people who gave them the orders.
Is it likely that down the road we're going to see the prosecution of former Prime Minister Aphisit Wechachiwa and other individuals within the previous administration? Is that something that you expect?
I'm going to be very clear. Number one, I'm not going to prejudge investigations and put names out there. I don't think that's fair. I absolutely am certain that there will be prosecutions for those involved, but we need the right authorities in different jurisdictions to ascertain that.
What kind of cooperation have you had from this administration, the Yingluck administration?
It's very early days, but there's definitely a feeling of cooperation that's there. That's obviously very different from the last government, who were so scared of any form of investigation that they banned me and the internationally well-known criminal law expert Knoops with our pictures at the airport. They banned us from entering the country.
There's a sense of skepticism on the part of the red shirts, sensed by communications via the social network online here, that this government is not serious about trying to make sure that folks in the previous administration is held accountable for the things that they ordered out. From your sense, is that true, or is this government serious about that as well as the red shirts victims are?
Look, I act for the red shirts, and my bottom line is, whether it's this government or it's international authorities, we will get to the bottom of it. So I'm not going to lay blame on anyone yet. It's too early. I think Prime Minister Yingluck's doing a superb job on the floods, and it would be inappropriate for me to say anything until I've been back here a few times and really given this government a chance.
Is the situation with the extreme flooding across the country taking attention away from issues of the red shirts? You think it's taking away attention that will sidetrack the government for the long term?
Absolutely not. I think when you have a natural disaster like this, everyone needs to come together. And, you know, I have a job to do, which is to get to the bottom of what happened last year, and I'm going to do that. But red shirts have to care for their brothers and sisters in trouble. And that's their only job now.
Down the road, is Thailand likely to become a member of the International Criminal Court after a full ratification process of the Rome Statute? Is that something that you still are trying to get this government to do?
Absolutely. I think it's essential. And I think it's very important that we understand that for liability to flow, there has to be real acts of those people at the top in command responsibility. So I don't think it's at risk to heads of state. I think it's really a matter of who are culpable, who are the people engaged in illegal acts. And those are the people that would have to be concerned.
Many people within the academic community here believes that there is no way this government is going to ratify this treaty allowing Thailand to become a full member. Do you feel the same?
I don't. I don't feel that way. And secondly, I want to make it very clear on this show. The ICC that we approached on the basis of Abhisit Vejjajiva's citizenship, which is British.
Okay.
So we have a legal right, given his citizenship, to go to the ICC, independent of whether or not Thailand ratifies. So I want to make sure those two issues aren't confused.
But if Thailand ratifies, it would be more convenient on various jurisdiction grounds.
To be honest, I don't think that changes much. I think the real issue about Thailand ratifying is that it will lead to more rule of law compliance overall. We need to make sure the Army understands and the government understands that they don't have impunity.
How much cooperation are you getting from members of the armed forces this time? Are you getting to meet representatives of the army chief, or other individuals?
I haven't asked General Prayuth Khan-Ochar for dinner, but I think on my next trip we'll be making requests of the Army to meet with them. In fairness to them, I haven't asked, so there's not much I can say.
Another point that I wanted to touch on, I think you've spoken about this, and it has to do with lèse-majesté charges. Right. Recently, the UN rapporteur, Frank LaRue, came out to comment that Thailand needs to act like it is a member of to the UN Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or actually the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. What is your take on this? Is there enough pressure on the government to amend lèse-majesté laws?
I don't know that there's enough pressure. I know that there can be amendments like the Norwegians suggest, which leave the body of the law intact but make it much more restrictive in terms of who can bring charges. And that is certainly long overdue.
You met with some of the victims, as has been reported, of lèse-majesté cases.
Yes.
How are they doing in jail?
Very badly. Thai jails, the ones I saw in Bangkok, give the average prisoner 1/2 the space in Russia's gulag. Mm. It is totally unacceptable.
Are you also trying to get through some reform? I mean, essentially, it has to do with the government. The government could pursue reform.
I am telling this government and to every person I meet that those administrative changes have to take place yesterday. We have to protect these people.
On this issue, you have spoken to some families of Richard victims this round, right?
Yes.
What is the sense that you get from them? Do you get a sense that they believe in what you're trying to do? They believe that you'll be successful in this? Do you get a sense that the government, even though this government has been supported by the Red Shirts, has somewhat forgotten about them?
Look, I will tell you, this government has not forgotten about one red shirt, from what I can see. And the red shirts need to understand, we can lose at the ICC. We can lose with this government. I will guarantee them ultimately we will get justice, because if you study Argentina and you study Chile, you understand that these transitions from autocratic military juntas take time. But as long as we persevere, as long as we keep the faith, I am convinced we will get there. And I think this new government is such a breath of fresh air in terms of some basic liberties. And the honesty with which Yingluck's even been approaching the flood. And I was just received by the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee and given a lot of support in terms of what we were doing. So I'm quite hopeful.
You've been to Russia before.
Many times.
How would you compare the atmosphere in Russia? Because I understand that you had some problems with the powers that be over there as well, with former President and current Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. What is your treatment there compared to treatment here in Thailand?
Well, as many people know, I was arrested in Russia, representing Khodorkovsky. And I would tell you that I believe Putin to be more of a Democrat than Abbasid.
You're not kidding?
I'm not kidding. Because with Putin, you really get what you see.
Okay.
And with Abbasid, you don't get what you see. He pretends to be a Democrat, but yet he probably put more people in jail on issues of conscience than most other leaders known to mankind during his time in office. So I really believe, and I've said this publicly, that the Democrats should change their name to the Party of the Army.
That's not a joke then?
That's not a joke. And in fact, I intend to fight hard that the Liberal International remove the Democrats from membership.
Are you still banned from Russia at this point?
Yes.
Okay. You're not banned from Thailand anymore?
No.
And you haven't told me how long you're going to be here, but I'm guessing it's until you can gather all of the information to continue to fight the case.
Well, let's be clear. I will come and go.
Okay.
And I have a terrific team here of people who have been working very diligently, and they will continue. And as I've said to people, if we lose at the ICC, we will assemble more evidence and we will go back. If we get prosecutions in Thailand, that will also be a result. What we have to do is break impunity, which means we have to hold those people who opened fire on red shirts to account, period.
The Democrat Party has attempted to at least so far, pressure this government, or at least pressure the police force to go after you while you're here.
Yes.
You think they got a shot?
Look, you know, I will never minimize the ability of the Democrats to illegally abuse power. They've been very good at it. They've dissolved political parties. They've set up all sorts of people. I never want to bet against dirty tricks from the Democrats.
Okay, but you're safe so far this round.
I'm here.
Let's look at the macro political view of Thailand a little bit, because I think you've coined some pretty interesting terms. I don't recall them at this point, but I want to get your description of where Thailand is. We're looking at a lot of countries around the globe trying to move towards a full democracy. Myanmar, clearly still quite a dictatorship,
yes,
in a form of they have a new election, but it's not fully liberal. You're looking at some of the countries in the Middle East, they got all of these revolutions. Where is Thailand? How would you coin Thailand as a democracy? Are we semi-democracy? Are we semi-autocratic? Are we somewhat guided or misguided? What would you call us?
I would say at this point, under Kun Yingluck, that we would call this a transitional phase moving to democracy. While you have the army commenting on political events.
Still the case.
Still the case. You can't even begin to start thinking of it as a democracy. While you have Abbasid as head of the Democratic Party without ever having to come clean about his role in the massacre, you can't call it a Democratic Party. No party in a Democratic polity would have put Abbasid back in. It never would have happened. The fact that he could go back in just shows how slow Thailand is to making that transition. And what I tell people is that is an insult to every Thai, that he could go back in without coming clean about exactly what happened. Give him the benefit of the doubt if you want. The fact that that man with impunity could not even have to face investigation and still be voted back in tells you that there is something wrong with the state of democracy in Thailand.
All right. We'll see if the red shirts get what they want and if those who are responsible get what they deserve. Thank you very much for joining us on Wake Up Thailand today.
Thank you so much.
You.